Okay, this will be some literary practice, about between 140 and 150 words per minute on the record. Now this hard work is paying off. There is a lot of work still to do, but the facts speak for themselves. The economy is up, inflation is low, trade is expanding, interest rates and unemployment are down. The strategy is working. Over 6.5 million new jobs have come into this economy in the last 2 years, almost all of them in the private sector. There's a far higher percentage of new jobs in the private sector as opposed to government than in the previous decade. We have more than 80 new trade agreements covering everything from cellular telephones to rice from my home state and everything you can imagine in between. The deficit is being cut already by $1 trillion over 7 years, and we are going to cut it more. The deficit is now going down 3 years in a row under the budgets already passed for the first time since Mr. Truman was the President of the United States, and under the budgets already passed, thanks to the reinventing government effort, we are going to reduce the size of the federal government by 270,000. It will make it the smallest it's been since President Kennedy was the President of the United States. In 1993, more new businesses sprung up than in any previous year since World War II, when we started keeping these statistics, and 1994 broke the record of 1993. And more importantly, these businesses are staying alive. In the last 2 years, business failures and bankruptcies have plummeted. We want to keep it that way. We're doing everything we can to accelerate that trend. In the 1993 economic program, which was passed by the Congress, there was a 50% cut in capital gains for 5-year investments in new businesses capitalized at $50 million a year or less. I think that will increase access to capital for small businesses. We raised the amount that can be deducted for equipment expenses by 75%. We extended the research and experimentation tax credit. We have just extended the deduction for self-employed people for their health insurance premiums, and next year it will go up to 30% from 25%. We've also scraped export controls and expanded export assistance to help not only big businesses, but small businesses sell their products around the world. When I came to this office, I had 3 basic goals for small business. I wanted to give new life to the Small Business Administration. I wanted to make it easier for you to get credit, and I wanted to cut government regulations that didn't make any sense so you could grow faster. We've come a long way toward meeting these 3 objectives. We have a leaner, more invigorated, more committed SBA than ever before. We've shrunk the applications for most common loans from over 1 inch thick to 1 single page. The SBA budget is now less than the taxes paid every year by 3 companies that received critical SBA help early in their careers: Intel, Apple, and Federal Express. In the past year, more private capital was invested in SBA's venture capital program than in the previous 10 years combined. We have dramatically reduced the credit crunch in many parts of the country by revising bank regulations to encourage lending to smaller firms. And the SBA loans grew from 32,000 in 1992 to an estimated 67,000 this year. And though we more than doubled the number of loans, the cost to the taxpayers was reduced. We've expanded loans to women and minority-owned businesses dramatically. The Vice President talked a little bit about the work that he and the others in our Reinventing Government group have been doing to reduce regulations. Last Friday, we announced an initiative that will allow you to report wage and tax information to one place. Instead of sending the same data to many different federal and state organizations, you can now send it to one place and we'll do the rest. In 32 states next year, people will be able to file their state and federal income taxes together electronically. Now, that will really save a lot of paperwork and problems. Today, I want to make two further announcements. First of all, we're committed to making the regulatory burden lighter. As part of the review I ordered at the beginning of the year, we are taking 16,000 pages from the government's Code of Federal Regulations. It's not always easy to get rid of these things that are outdated and don't make any sense to us, but it's even harder to make regulations that need to be on the books untangled, sensible, and workable. So we're also working to make another 31 pages of these federal government regulations simpler, clearer, and more relevant to your lives. Some legal material now. This will probably be anywhere from 150 up to 170 and back down. The final warm-up before tapes. For the record, the property the Chambers lived on was approximately 2 acres. This overview here shows County Road 12 right here. Here is the driveway which you enter to get back to the house here. The driveway is a very long driveway. Any vehicle coming down this driveway would be heard. The driveway is gravel composition. Notice that there are some trees here and here along the driveway as you enter the property. There is a tree here and here. Here is another tree and a garden over here. This is an area to park more vehicles here. Here are some bushes. Here are some more bushes along here. The property is somewhat secluded from the land. You cannot see the road from this vantage point here, nor can you see the house from the county road from the house location either. The property is not fenced along this area in the back here where the Chambers kept some chickens with a chicken coop here. Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this overview is meant to give you a sense of the scene of the crime. This overview is to lend to your senses the location where the Chambers lived in this remote area. This overview is meant to try to put you at the scene of the crime so that you can get a feel for what is involved here in the case at hand. As you can see in this Exhibit 13, there are neighbors to the south of the Chambers property and neighbors to the north of the Chambers property. Both neighboring properties immediately about the Chambers property. This property back here to the west of the Chambers property is a large farm owned by Kendall family encompassing 100 acres of farmland which abutted the west side of the Chambers property. Thank you for your attention, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. This overview will be gone into again during the course of the trial to orient your sense to the scene of the crime. Maybe we could move the easel back just a bit to help make more room in this area, Your Honor, before I continue with my opening statement. I would like for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury to be able to see the photographs. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, moving the easel this way just a little bit so that you can see the photographs. Again, looking at this photograph, Exhibit 14. I didn't realize how small this area is in the courtroom until we brought in these blow-ups. Sorry for the inconvenience, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Now, if you look carefully, you can again see an aerial view shot from a plane appearing in color of the Chambers property. Here you can see the trees. Over here, if you look carefully, you can see the neighboring properties. Here is the Kendall family farm, which takes up quite a bit of the area to the west of the Chambers property. If you look carefully, the Kendall family home is way over in this corner of the photograph. Here it is here near the front of another road, West Fork Highway over here. This home is quite a distance from the Chambers property. Neither the Kendall family home nor the Chambers family home is visible to each other with the naked eye. Do you see that, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Do you see that from this vantage point there is no visibility of either property from each of the other? Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this is a good point. If neither property is visible from the other property, how is it that Rex Kendall was able to see a vehicle parked here in this driveway on the night of the shooting? I ask you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, how is that possible? That is one of the questions that we will have to answer in the course of this trial. Your Honor, at this time, is it possible to take a recess to move these exhibits to the side and rearrange the photographs? Thank you, Your Honor. I just need to discuss with Your Honor a few things out of the presence of the jury, along with counsel, if we can do that during the break. Your Honor, I would ask that the clerk assist me in moving these exhibits to the other side. Thanks again for your attention, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Everything will be ready for you upon your return to the courtroom. Counsel, do you have any questions about these exhibits before I move them? Okay. And thanks for your assistance in this matter, Your Honor, and learned co-counsel and members of the jury. I feel the spirit of cooperation in this courtroom, and I know that you, the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, can be assured that we are working together to come up with the facts to present to you in an orderly and efficient manner that will make this a speedy trial process, along with a clear and concise presentation of the facts regarding this case. Thank you for your attention, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Now, I want you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, to consider what I have done so far. Consider everything that I have talked about so far with the evidence. The evidence proves each and every element of this case is charged. But I'm going to talk now just about the facts that I don't think we discussed as yet, that have proven that Mr. Farrell acted with implied malice. The facts will reveal that he acted with implied malice. Remember, there was a limiting instruction on that. The judge said that when we started talking about the arrest in Blythe, it wasn't going to try to make you think that Mr. Farrell was a bad guy just because he has been out drinking and driving before. No, that is not the case. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, remember that implied malice is a specific mental state without which Mr. Farrell cannot be convicted of murder. It is a specific mental state that you have to believe that he had. So we know that is about 4 p.m. on Saturday, July 4th. He was picked up by Roger Whittier of the Blythe Police Department. Roger Whittier went out to a reported call. He found Mr. Farrell in his red or burgundy Nissan weaving down the road. We know he was arrested for driving under the influence. They found him to be more than double the legal limit driving an automobile in the state of California. His blood alcohol content was measured twice through his breath. Well, ask yourself, why twice? How do they arrive at twice the limit? Because that's the law in the state of California. They use a machine that has been calibrated. He was at 0.19 or 0.20. Obviously, 0.19 or 0.2 is more than 0.08. Some of you may wonder how he was even functioning at that level of intoxication. That's a good question. We know, in addition to everything else that Roger Whittier could tell, he was under the influence because of the symptoms he exhibited: slurred speech, red eyes, and he failed the test. No, Mr. Whittier, he said. Mr. Whittier, you got me. You caught me red-handed. I knew better, and I knew it was wrong. Officer Whittier said he tried to act contrite. Okay, I think that is real important about the knowledge that he had. Even then, he said, I knew I was wrong. I should not have been driving. Why did he make those statements if he thought he was in the right? He knew he was in the wrong at that time.